The Israeli-Palestinian crisis has entered a dangerous new phase. Arab and Jewish mobs have clashed on the streets of Israel, triggering warnings the conflict could be descending into a civil war. Let's go live to Tel Aviv now, and we're joined by reporter Ellie Hochenberg, the I-24 News diplomatic correspondent. Ellie, thanks for your time this evening, your time. Can you just explain to our viewers what you're feeling, what you're hearing, what you're seeing this evening?
Well, Pete, rockets and riots, no other way to put it here in Israel. The confrontation between Israel and Hamas continues in full swing. Numerous barrages of rockets throughout the day, not just to the area adjacent to the Israel-Gaza border. It's really impossible to count how many red alerts were heard there throughout the day, but also to other areas, let it be Beersheba in the south, and again, the surroundings earlier in the day and the afternoon to here central Israel, Tel Aviv, and the rest of the area, and the strategic area of the Ben Gurion International Airport was also targeted by Hamas missiles earlier in the day. From the IDF standpoint, we're seeing aerial attacks that continue as well, with the targets being Hamas headquarters and weapon facilities. So yes, no end in sight to this confrontation, despite mediation attempts, most notably perhaps on behalf of Egypt at this point in time, that are not gaining momentum, and the Israeli leadership preparing Israeli citizens for a lengthy campaign vis-a-vis Hamas, not ruling out, Pete, the option of a ground activity on behalf of the IDF. Okay,
so what is the messaging, Ellie, that you're receiving from Israeli Defence Force authorities this evening? What are they saying? Are there initial plans over, say, the next 24-hour period?
Well, again, the aerial attacks of targets throughout the Gaza Strip continues, and there are preparations. The IDF is prepared. That means for any ground activity that will be needed, but no green light for that type of activity yet. Usually, Pete, I will dare to say, mediation efforts are gaining momentum a few days into the confrontation. Again, we've seen Egyptians trying to calm down the tension. So far, it appears that neither side is willing to conclude this round of hostilities, with, again, Israel under missile attacks throughout the day, different areas. And also this evening, a few missiles on Israel's northern border, not from Hezbollah in Lebanon, but rather Palestinian groups, according to local reporting there. So in terms of the confrontation on Israel's border, still high alert throughout the country.
What are the claims from Hamas in terms of the death toll this evening? What are they saying? What's their Ministry of Health saying, Ellie, about how many lives have been lost so far?
Well, mixed reporting in this respect, and it is often challenging to get a clear sense of the death toll. There, we can see the scale of physical damage, and in this respect, it's perhaps important to remind our viewers the Israeli modus operandi in this respect, announcing prior to the attacks what buildings or what areas are going to be targeted in order to avoid civilian being hurt there. But Hamas is usually disguising some facilities in civilian areas in order to make it even more challenging. So again, the confrontation continues, with neither side showing any signs of backing down at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the past, the Hamas militants have even used hospitals to use as their bases as well to disguise themselves. Just finally, are you seeing an uptick in the amount of activity from the Iron Dome this evening, Ellie? Is that increasing, or is there a bit of a peaceful period that's taking place at the moment?
Oh, the Iron Dome missile interception system operates throughout the day. Again, we're talking about multiple barrages, almost on an hourly base in the southern areas, even by minute in some points of the day. And unless the Iron Dome was so successful in intercepting that, we would have seen a completely different scene here in Israel. Most missiles that are being fired towards Israel are being intercepted by the Iron Dome missile system. Some direct hits. Thankfully, no direct hits this today that have caused any Israelis being rushed to hospital.
OK, Ellie Hochenberg, the I-24 News diplomatic correspondent. Thanks for your time this morning. We'll talk to you again soon.